We're at the Kelowna Volunteer Fire Department, where there's kind of a makeshift gathering here so people can get things that they need that had damage from those tornadoes. Look at all of this food right here. This was cooked by the St. Charles Parish Sheriff's Office. They made all of this, have been cooking it since 3 a.m. this morning. And here it is right there. He has touched down on Louisiana soil. The president of France has officially touched Louisiana soil for the first time since 1976. You may be wondering why I'm standing where I am. I'm going to show you right now. My cameraman Neil's going to pan down. You can see this impact right now. You can see all of the cars parked. These crowds here out on Poydras Street. The crowds walking towards the dome. This is what it looks like when LSU comes to town. Right here, this is the room where those protesters had been for the past 3 days. Now we're going to go ahead and play for you right now, once again, those sounds and scenes that we heard here around 9 o'clock.
I mean, here's how I feel about it. I think that we have always, as Americans, prided ourselves on the foundational principles of freedom and liberty.
The sounds of New Orleans' most famous street.
You're out here survival. You're not really living, you're surviving.
Can't drown out its cries for help.
As we're told, a man was shot just before 7:30 this morning in the 100 block of Bourbon Street.
And an investigation underway right now on Bourbon.
A terrifying video shows people running for their lives after a mass shooting in the French Quarter.
According to the New Orleans Police Department, there have been multiple shootings on Bourbon Street in 2022 and one shooting fatality. That on just one street of the French Quarter, where New Orleans and company say up to 90% of New Orleans tourists visit at some point during their stay. Chris Ross has worked in the French Quarter for just under 30 years.
From 95 till 2019, I worked on Bourbon Street.
He says he's noticed a decay in the quarter and fears it could keep future tourists away.
The customer that comes here is somewhat afraid of their experience because of what's happening of recent times, the number of guns that's been out on Bourbon, and unfortunately a number of fatalities that's happened on Bourbon Street. So I think that at one point it was about fun and coming out just having a great time, which it still happens, but I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think it's at the scale that it was.
He says solutions are badly needed now, and one state leader agrees.
So goes New Orleans, so goes tourism of the whole state.
Louisiana Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser has a plan to address the violence on the street. It's called the French Quarter Revitalization Plan. It would form a French Quarter Management District Board with appointees from the Lieutenant Governor, the Mayor of New Orleans, the District C New Orleans City Council member, and French Quarter business and residential organizations.
It needs the attention that it's not getting as a tourism magnet for Louisiana.
The board would work to address beautification in the area, add security cameras, add lighting, upkeep infrastructure, and get more police in the quarter, with the end goal of having 109 officers there in total. The plan has already faced a hiccup as it has been rejected by state reps once, but Nungesser says he's working with local leaders to modify the plan and get it back in front of the state legislature.
That they've been doing this all year long.
But work is also being done now to address crime in the area. New Orleans police say the new patrol protocols they put in place for 2022 have resulted in more than 300 gun-related arrests in the quarter just this year, with most of those on Bourbon Street alone and 39 over just this Halloween weekend. Getting guns out of the area has become a priority for police, but Ross says it's going to take an all-hands-on-deck approach to keep the quarter from continuing to get worse.
I think it's a huge economic blow to the city and the state if that happens, right? Because it's got to be at least one of the top 5 economic generators in the state. And I think that, hopefully at some point someone sees that and know that you just can't continue to think that it's just going to be this cash cow that just keeps ringing, where I think you need to be making investments into it.
Reporting in New Orleans, Eli Brand, WDSU News.
Father Otis and Ruth Pratts were there at the wrong time. It wasn't the wrong place. Covington's a good town.
A good town facing the murders of 2 giants of their community. Covington police say the investigation started when a car registered to Pratts was seen backing over a road sign Sunday night. They then tried to contact Pratts about the incident, but then found her phone in a dumpster, and hours later found the burned bodies of both Pratts and Father Otis Young. Police described the moments leading up to the murders just after Antonio Tyson was seen riding a bike near Pratt's home.
The subject circles back and speaks to Pratt and Father Young for a few moments. At 3:55 p.m., the subject then leaves on his bicycle and parks it at a nearby grocery store. At 4:09 p.m., the subject is seen walking to Pratt's front door with what appears to be a knife being held behind his back in a crouched position and appears to enter Roots Pratt's residence.
Tyson was found in Pratt's car early Monday morning in a Walgreens parking lot and was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Tim Brown and Jim Mormon are both in-laws of Ruth Pratt. They say she was the type of person everyone wants to be around.
She was devoted to her parish, and she was devoted to her church, and she worked tirelessly there, but never at the expense of her family. I was, turns out, blessed enough to spend Thanksgiving with her in Dallas.
Pratt's was caring for Father Young after he had a stroke. Mormon and Brown believe they were together watching the Saints game Sunday night.
She helped us raise our 4 children, so she had a very close relationship with our kids, a special relationship, a special bond. They called her Mimi, and it's just heartbreaking. It's devastated the kids. It's devastated her daughters.
I mean, I just woke up with guns and flashlights in my face.
In this surveillance video, you can see 4 sheriff's deputies from the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office entering a man's home Monday night. They woke up 2 people inside with guns and flashlights, all because they were responding to this bogus 911 call.
Me and my mom got into an argument, and I grabbed her AR and I just let off some shots, and I ran out the room with the gun. But
is anybody hurt?
I think my mom is hurt, ma'am. I tied up my little sister so she didn't call the cops. But
where is she tied up in the house?
She's in the bathroom, ma'am.
Deputies say they believe this is the second time the same person from out of state made a bogus 911 call in the parish in the last 2 months. The man who was in the home at the time didn't want to go on camera, but is angry towards the person who made that call.
But if people keep making phone calls like this, somebody's going to get killed. Innocent people going to die over a phone call, over false information. That's a fact. Like, somebody's going to die sooner or later.
Deputies say it's the threat towards a child that caused them to respond in this way, something the homeowner understands. And both he and police are just happy someone didn't get hurt.
I know one of the issues that was brought forward with this was the deputies came in with their guns drawn. Well, of course they did. They were expecting to find an armed suspect inside that house. We are very fortunate in this case that no one was harmed. The residents inside that house, the deputies who were responding.
There is an investigation into the person who made the call. Deputies say a potential conviction could come with a felony and potentially decades in prison.
Somebody making a phone call can get innocent people hurt. And if they think this is a game, it could happen to their family, them, or somebody. It's not even a joke. And I don't see how they think this is some kind of prank.